All right, hello, my name is Julie Thompson. I work at Myrtle Grove Christian School. I have the privilege of teaching 7th and 8th graders mathematics, and I know it's your favorite subject. And I am here today to talk to you about my journey with breast cancer. In the summer of 2008, it was June, I was on a trip, and that's when I first noticed a lump in my right breast. I just thought maybe I have an ingrown hair follicle, maybe it's just a little rash. I really had no idea. It did not cross my mind. And then it didn't go away, so I finally asked my husband, what do you think it is? And his eyes got big, and he said, you need to go to the doctor. Well, I gave him my typical answer, and I go, yeah, sure. And he knew that I wasn't seriously going to follow up. So guess what he did? He called my mother. And yes, he called her, and then she called me and basically chewed me out and said I needed to go to the doctor. And so I did. And I went through a series of going, first to my regular doctor. Okay, now you need to go to check this doctor, that doctor. I probably went to 3 or 4 different doctors before they finally said, hey, we probably need to do a biopsy, and I had some minor surgery, and then they told me I had breast cancer.
You said that you had chemo.
Yes.
So with chemo, I've heard stories, and none of them sound pretty good, but
They're not.
Yeah.
They're right.
And I've heard things like it tastes like you're eating iron. That's what Linda said.
Yeah.
And
That's a good description.
just tell me what experiencing chemo was like.
Okay. Chemo, in the words of my beautiful and wonderful friend, Courtney Chase, she called it liquid gold. That, it's, you don't really want to have chemo, but it's so good for you. It kills what needs to be killed and gets rid of what needs to be gotten rid of. And she helped me a lot, to understand what I was going to go through. Well, my first chemo treatment, of course, I was so stressed about it. I thought, what is going to happen to me? I'm so worried. How am I going to feel? Am I going to throw up every day? What is it like? And all the reading you do, it's different for different people. I went to my oncologist's office, and they actually infused it, and it's like an IV bag that they infuse into your veins.
Yeah, and I know you have to get it inserted into your chest.
You can. Now, I was really tender, and the last thing I wanted was anybody messing with this because, I'd already had a double mastectomy. I was already really sore. Can I get a port put in anywhere else than my upper chest? And they said, sure, you can do it in your upper arm, which basically I think it puts it into the brachial artery. And that's the artery that connects your arm to your trunk. So I had it in my left arm, my left upper arm. So, and that's where they infuse me. It's a flat little disc that's just underneath the skin, and they just poke right through it. It's a little pinch, and they're in, and the medicine just starts infusing right into that artery. I felt like the bionic woman, I just had all these apparatus pieces inside my body, I just felt weird.
Disc and...
Yeah, it was definitely weird. The infusion itself, it's just a matter of time. I felt it going in, but it wasn't distracting. It was just just read a book, listen to music for a couple hours. Now afterwards, that's when the real fun began. My bones ached really badly, almost like I had the flu. I haven't had the flu, but I'm told that you ache really badly. So, but my bones just really hurt bad. And my husband had to give me a shot because one thing that chemo does is it basically wipes out your whole immune system.
Yeah.
So the shot gets the blood cells inside your long bones to start growing more blood cells again to replenish the ones that were wiped out. Yes, and you mentioned earlier about things tasting like iron. Boy, did it ever. I had a metallic taste from day one to my very last chemo, and I was very fatigued. I just had no energy at all. I think my hero was my brother Jay. He stopped at Wendy's and got me a Frosty, and it was the only food that I could eat and actually taste. I didn't taste any metal when I had Frosties. So of course, anytime he called me, I'd go, "Hey, can you bring me a Frosty?" And he'd go, "Sure, sis, no problem." And that was just
What
wonderful.
did it feel like when you lost your hair?
Oh boy. Believe it or not, I did not know that hair could hurt. Right when my Dr. Kotz, he said, after your first chemo, 2 weeks after your first chemo, your hair is all going to fall out. So I just progressively got it cut shorter and shorter. It was pretty short. It wasn't terribly short, but it was a lot shorter than I normally have it. And true to his word, 2 weeks after that first chemo, I remember it was December 5th, my hair hurt. The only way I can describe it, and I think girls would understand this best, is like you pull your hair into a ponytail and you have it pulled too tight for too long, and then when you let it out, you know that achy feeling your scalp has when you let out that tight? That was all over my scalp, all over my head. And that's when I knew that's getting ready to come out. And of course I went into the shower every day, to wash my hair, and I'd lather it up and I go, wow, that's a lot of hair that just came off on my hands. The day that I knew it was time to buzz it was the day my scalp hurt really bad. So I went over to somebody that just had a buzzer, and she buzzed my head, and then I didn't really see my hair fall out after that. The hair was just so tiny. And then my mom wanted me to get a wig. Yeah, I got one. I never wore it because I looked hideous in it, but I felt like I looked bad. Everybody else said, "Oh, you look like your normal self." I just thought I looked weird. And plus it was hot and itchy, and when your scalp is exposed like that and it's real rough underneath the hair, it was itchy. I was super hot and I was just sweating. It just was so uncomfortable. And then I just said, "Now I'm gonna wear scarves." And my best friend Melanie Cofield brought me a bag of scarves to choose from, and so I just wore scarves every day, and it was cool. And you could tell I was sick because I was wearing a scarf. You could tell something was wrong, but it was hopefully very stylish. With the prospect of having to face that I could die, that I probably laid on the couch for about 12 hours. Obviously my mind was very clouded, but when I woke up, I just had this newfound courage and determination. I really felt like God ministered to me overnight, and I just was like, I'm ready to fight, and I'm not going to let this hurt me, or it's not going to get the best of me. The surgery was very painful, and I never wanted to give up. I just have to credit how God made me and my parents, how they raised me. Thank God they raised a really tough sister, because I think a lot of people would want to give up when you're in that much pain, and I just never did. I just thought, I can get through this. I can get to the other side of this. I can overcome. I just always believed that.
Did you ever just feel like not your normal self, like not very beautiful as you were before you had cancer?
Absolutely. I really felt like I was getting kicked while I was down. And this is what happened. In March, and I finished my last chemo treatment on January 21st, 2009. That was my very last one. I only had to do 4. That was my 4th one. And 4 is enough, I promise. 1's enough. None's enough. And just one day in March, all my eyebrows fell out and all my eyelashes fell out.
Your eyelashes?
Mm-hmm. And you talk about, if you can tell a cancer patient, because besides losing the hair on their head, if they don't have eyebrows, that makes your face look so weird when you don't have eyebrows. And that was the first time I personally thought that I looked sick. So not beautiful, not pretty at all, felt like an alien. And that's when I started noticing my scars. And, and it is 6 years later, and I still catch a glimpse of a scar in the mirror, and it just takes my breath away that I don't feel beautiful. And so thank God I have a wonderful husband who is just like, you're beautiful no matter what. And he says that all the time. And I needed that. February 24th, 2009. Well, that's actually my father's birthday, so I was able to tell him on his birthday that my doctor said, I just don't need to see you anymore, and we'll see you twice a year for 3 years, and then once a year after that. And this year, last year, 2014, I dropped both my oncologist and I am beautiful and I am strong. I'm a cancer survivor. Please support on Wednesdays.
Hope when you take that jump, you don't feel the fall. Hope when the